And look for some old, seldom talked about hollow earth entrances. And of course, all the caves and all the access points have been dynamited or welded shut, and everything was pretty locked down.
Again, he's a former FBI agent, and he is the X-Man, is what he's known as. He said, I want to come back and talk to you about Antarctica and all the heads of state that are going there. And we're like, what's going on down there? We got to find out.
So he gets to Antarctica, and long story short, they discover there in Antarctica. Now, this is in 1998, right? They discover there's bases under the ice.
But then they found that there was this huge magnetic anomaly down there. But the magnetic anomaly is consistent with basically a 50-mile wide city, a metropolis down there.
Wow. Of course, he teaches in the public school system, so if he started talking about this, from what I found out from a geometry teacher friend of mine, that you can lose your job over this one.
We'll assume it's U.S. military, but we don't know for sure. But satellites over Antarctica discovered something under the ice, and it was a huge something. It was gigantic. We still don't know what it is. They still won't discuss it. It causes magnetic disturbances.
The first territorial incursion committed by the Nazi Party in 1939, their takeover of Norwegian sovereign territory at the northern tip of Antarctica. But why? What were the Nazis looking for?
I get an order from the Pentagon to report to the Chief of Research and Development. I walked into General Trudeau's office. Then he gave me an order. He said, Phil, watch things for me. The rest don't understand.
The fallen angels being locked away beneath the ice in Antarctica. There's not very many people that go to Antarctica. For some reason, that's just the land that nobody touches.
But why would he, at the age of 86, go to the Antarctic? It had to be something monumental. It had to be something that's really something that would change everything.
Sometimes we use robots in the plant. Some of the plants we have are 50 or 60 acres under roof. We have a section of the plant we call recon, which is recontainerization. Stuff comes in from the train or comes in on
we turned into like a journey to the center of the earth type thing, where there was actual physical entrance at the North Pole, and he went inside it and saw this, the land that time forgot.
If you want to know how many residents it has as its population, the official count is an average of only 5,000 temporary residents. That's all the scientific community that.
Military bases, alien bases, there's a laboratory there, there's, an entire situation going on of contact between the human race and an alien race. And then, of course,
the Congressional Committee went down there, and that's when rumors began about this Antarctica city having been discovered. The city was a city that was flash frozen around the time of the Great Flood.
It's covered by a molten glass dome. There are waters above that dome. The Earth is, a disc, not a ball.
In the Earth's magnetic field so far out that it can be sensed out 300 miles away from the planet. This unknown thing, spaceship or something, otherworldly, that would be found in Antarctica.
As this saga continues to unfold, I am gradually becoming more convinced that the early Nazi success in Antarctica provided the impetus for everything else that was to come.
And we have 3,000 officers in R&D. And that was the order he gave me. Watch things because the rest don't understand for me. We knew they were important, and we knew there was something there. Return them to us for competitive edge of the Army and give them to the people.
The Ark of Gabriel was taken. Russia took the Ark of Gabriel to Antarctica. If these fallen angels are released from their prison,
so he goes down there, and what does he see? He sees exactly what these people are saying that they have found. He sees the mothership. You don't see the other two because they're buried under the ice. But one they dug down to, they're 2 miles down in the ice.
And we have to sequence that, put it in order of color. And sometimes we use robots or we use self-driving carts because they don't have eyes like we have eyes. This is all driven by military research.
There was a huge expanse of land bigger than the United States past the South Pole, which he hadn't even seen yet. which meant that nobody's seen it because he was the leading explorer in the world at that point, and he flew his own planes.
The personnel there is just incredibly small as far as how many people are there. These pyramids that have been uncovered at Antarctica, and that are larger than the pyramids of Giza.
Out of this underground base in Antarctica, this huge hole begins to open up. This spacious, huge, UFO spacecraft comes up out of the ice, from under the ice.
So Antarctica is not millions of years old in terms of it being covered by ice over a period of millions of years. There were cities, or basically metropolises down in Antarctica. It was...
Well, NASA says it's not, space agency says it's not, the government says it's not, and we've been told all this stuff, but, it just comes down to our own eyes and what we can prove.
When we find out that there's this large magnetic anomaly under the ice that is not part of the continent itself. In other words, there's something sitting on the Antarctic continent that's underneath the ice that is still able to throw out a magnetic field disturbance 300 miles out.
The coming of transhumanist robots, mechanical human hybrids, and artificial intelligence. Without the Dorsum Antarctica success in 1939, World War II might never have happened.
The integrated circuit turned into a supercomputer in 30 years. We were a little bit worried about that, like I told the general. What are we unleashing on the world, General? We don't know what this thing will end up. What if it integrates with the brain?
In the end times, these fallen angels are probably pretty angry since they've been trapped. They're trapped in Antarctica. They're probably pretty angry that they've been trapped for so long.
He sees that. He realizes that these are aliens. It was aliens who helped us advance. It were alien beings that were coming down from the sky in these wheels that the Bible talks about.
Humans have 120 degrees of peripheral vision, and we can run as fast as 25 miles an hour at an oblique angle to that moving object and catch it midair in a glove.
The entire Antarctic continent was made out of resource-rich materials, and nations could be squabbling over this thing for years and years to come. And you can ignore a lot of stuff, but you can't ignore conspiracies that are bigger than money.
Now, one thing that LIMA and Google Earth have in common, is that both systems show blur-outs, whiteouts, and grayscale alterations of certain areas.
And moves up into the air and flies away. The elite are trying to push and pre-program and indoctrinate people's minds